Continuing the Poor People's Campaign of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., here is Bishop William J. Barber II.
Injustice. He knew the problems we could fix if we were guided by public policy and love, justice, and rather than greed, racism, and lies about scarcity. And today, what we have, actually, is too many people who are too comfortable at the expense of more than 140 million poor and low-wealth people in this country, in this nation. 52% of our children, 60 years after the March on Washington, and it doesn't have to be this way. And that's why we have to build and are building this movement in the now. You know, Allison, we have talked one time, you don't really celebrate prophets. In fact, you don't do that. You re-engage their legacy. And remember, Dr. King was not killed because of what he had accomplished. He was killed because he wasn't satisfied. He wasn't satisfied with the realities of racism, poverty, militarism existing.
And in fact, as he evolved into this discussion that was about labor unions and about economics, and the March on Washington that we always talked about, the full title of the March on Washington was the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. He fully identified that these things are connected. You have made the argument to me that a lot of the poor people in this country are deliberately disengaged or have been deliberately disengaged by the political parties. And you've actually said, including the Democratic Party, that the Democratic Party needs to lean more fully into poor people, and that it's not a moral issue, that they'll actually change their electoral success if they do so.
30% of the electorate now is poor and low-wealth people. In battleground states, more than 45% of the electorate. We've gone out and talked to people, and many of them say nobody talks to us. The truth of the matter is we have these moral absurdities because the reality is political happiness and moral wholeness is something different. What turns people off of things like this? Republicans are too often obsessed with obtaining power and supporting autocratic leadership for the purposes of greed and lust. But sometimes Democrats are overly gleeful about compromise and moderate successes. We need to drill in 52 senators blocking a $15 minimum wage, which would have lifted 55 million Americans out of poverty. We can't be satisfied with that. 52 senators blocking health care and 330,000 people dying during COVID, not because of COVID, because of the lack of health care. We can't be satisfied with that. 700 people dying a day from poverty, 250,000 people a year. We can't be satisfied with that. The Voting Rights Act being gutted, and we have less voting rights today than we had 50-some years ago, and we only had one vote on that. We can't be satisfied with that.
Sunday, January 15, 2023, Dr. King's real birthday is today.